Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. What's cracking, people? It's your baby mama's favorite cousin, Cousin T Taw.
He is I and I am him.
I got to get that a little faster. Tonight, we have a wonderful conversation, as per usual, prepared for you. Get ready to receive a list of intangibles that players, Max and OGs, basically students and practitioners of this thing that we call foundational game. We master these intangibles in order to win. And as was brought out in previous conversations, you understand what it means to win the moment, win the interaction, win the day, win the season, and ultimately factor all of the collective uh, tools and materials and methodologies of this thing we call foundational game to win at your mission. But before we really get into this ism, let's bring up the co-host with the most, none other than the OG player himself, Mr. Rom Wills.
I'll be a player for life. So where's my wife?
Rom, how you feeling?
I'm here, man. I'm here, man.
Welcome back.
I'm here, so just ready to let's chop it up. Let's go deep. Y'all ready to go deep? I see.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
mastering the intangibles in a player. It ain't just about how his bone structure or anything. A lot of people don't really realize it. Shoot, we going deep tonight.
These are facts. And the reason why I want to go head first towards this particular subject matter is because a lot of channels and a lot of spaces avoid the intangibles. They avoid the sort of interpersonal aspect of being, which really is a core part of the curriculum of this thing we call foundational game. But before we really get started, let's shout out those who are early arrivals. Shout out to True Stayer, who is now a channel member. Says salute to the masters and the chat. Just so people are aware, the channel memberships have been activated because there are certain levels of content that we produce that is beyond YouTube's scope of monetization, meaning we drop ism that's so heavy that it is beyond YouTube's ability and desire to monetize. So that's why we put it into the membership space so that you can continue to enjoy high level quality information. Shout out to Kenneth Young. Absolutely. Welcome in. Salute to the masters of the game. Absolutely. Joe Blast, how we doing? He says, respect to the holy grail of the game, Cousin T and the General. Absolutely. Salute to Tristan Fitness. We got the all-stars in. We got the hitters of the house tonight. Absolutely. Making the rounds and making it do what it does. Salute to the masters and peace to the chat. Absolutely. Shout out to Michael MWC90. He says, salute to the masters. Absolutely. Once again, Kenneth Young says, a shout out to all the players, Max and OG. These are facts. O'Shea White.
What's poppin', twin?
Says, yo, family. Absolutely. Welcome in. Now, as we dive into tonight's information, what I want to do is set the stage for the application of the various terms and ideas that we're going to cover over the course of this conversation, because I want to make it applicable to the everyday activities that a student and practitioner of foundational game lives, and he finds himself in these situations and scenarios. But really, just to go ahead and get it started, the first term that I want to cover in terms of what players master in order to win is presence. We master the intangible of our presence, and that's basically how we show up physically, mentally, and emotionally in life and to others. You see?
Yes.
Basically, our presence is what factors into our being him, a
Yes.
highly
Yes.
influential man. You see, it's our ability to influence reality. When we are around, as we spoke of in the previous conversation, people recognize that we are dipped, that we are baptized, that we are initiated into that space, into that club, into that organized philosophy of ism. You see, women recognize players when they arrive. You see,
Hmm.
our presence, it strikes a chord with them. They say, "Oh,
Yes.
look at him. Who does he think he is?" You see, and of
Yeah,
course,
but
you know,
those women are feeling something though. I mean, that
absolutely,
guy, they say that, but they smiling when they say that. Who do you think he is?
these are
They
facts.
smiling and their panties getting wet. They, they talking about, I won't be needing these. They feeling something.
Mhm.
Fellas, just real quick, when women talking some smack, but they smiling, you got them. Now
Yes,
they talk some smack and they ain't smiling, then that might be an issue. But they smiling and stuff. Who you think he is? They all happy and all that. Please, you got them.
these are facts. Shout out to Rafik
What's
Dior.
poppin', twin?
Shout out cousin T-Ton, Ron Wills, and peace to the chat. Absolutely. Now, who in the chat can say what the answer is? The standard answer for a player Mac or OG when somebody asks us who we think we are. Let's see.
Mhm.
Let's see who's got it. I know a couple of people will know what that is. But when people ask, well, who are you? Who do you think you are? We have a standard response that player to player we understand and appreciate. We've come to understand. Now, shout out to Tristan. That was quick. I'm me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hold up.
Yeah,
Let me add something.
go for it.
Because that's one of the things. That's why you get a lot of these cats on YouTube be trying to say some stuff they really don't understand. They look into the outside of them like, I mean, it's not even about how they look. It's definitely not about how much money they have, but their real power, your real thing is coming from within because especially women, yeah, they look at you, but they need to feel you. And if they can't feel you, what good is it?
These are
That's
facts.
why you can get some guys and they look like what some of these guys think you can look like. They have all this stuff, but they having trouble with women. Meanwhile, some other man who has that presence, who's him, comes up and then, the women just going crazy.
Yes.
Taking those panties off because, those panties are wet. Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed. Shout out to Kenneth Young. Absolutely correct. I am the destination. These are facts. These are facts. These are facts. That comes with being who you are. The women who find themselves in your presence
Hmm.
recognize that they are in the presence of a man who has the potential to provide the space where he rests and the space where she can nest, aka the destination. So that's the first uh, intangible that we want to bring across tonight in terms of how mastering these intangibles puts players, Max and OGs, in the best position to win. The next one I want to bring forth is energy, right? We hear
Hmm.
this often in conversations, especially when we're talking to women and we're speaking about certain aspects of the human experience. Now,
Yes.
this particular intangible, believe it or not, gets mocked in some spaces. And what's
Yeah.
interesting is that when this intangible is mocked, it reveals something about the person who's mocking it. You see, oh, men don't discuss energy. Men don't discuss that woo woo stuff. I'm
Well,
sorry. Go for it.
here's a problem. Let me say something. A
Indeed.
lot of these guys who try to say something really don't understand it. They don't understand. They really see. We talking at a level that's a real level. there's really that foundational game. We at the highest level. Like, these guys are just saying some stuff just to get some attention. And they
Yeah,
telling guys stuff. They don't understand it. They can't talk about what they haven't personally experienced.
exactly.
So I mean, what's up? I mean, yeah, they're gonna call it all of that. They don't understand it. They haven't experienced it. You
Yeah.
know, like if I talk about making a woman having an orgasm without touching her, how many men have experienced that? How many men have looked in a woman's eyes and she'd be like, oh, oh, she feeling something? They haven't. Shoot, let's just be real. A whole lot of men out there haven't experienced just having a woman just being turned on sexually without spending any money on them, without saying a word, just walking in the room. The woman be like, huh, you know, they
Hmm.
haven't experienced all of that. So they not going to talk about it. That's not real for them because they haven't experienced it. They don't know anything about it. But see, when we talk about it, we talking about it from a place of knowing about it. This ain't nothing for us. This the lower level for us.
Indeed. But you know what? We have to maintain the fundamental understanding of the groundwork of this thing that we call a foundational game. The elementary level needs to be there in order to support the intermediate level, in order to support the advanced level, in order to
Mhm.
support the God level, and then the cosmic level of this thing we refer to as foundational game. Shout out to None Unknown.
What's poppin', twin?
Good to have you in. So, of course, we have to give the definition of what we mean when we say energy, the motion of influence, how we move
Mhm.
ourselves and others. Right now, the popular term is called motion. Do you have motion? Right? Does she have motion? What does that mean? Do we possess the ability to move people, to move ourselves, to progress the dynamic? Uh, it has um, shades of influence, but ultimately,
Mhm.
it has to do with a person's ability to have an internal locus or an internal source of um, ability. You see, the energy and the ability to get things done, to complete tasks, to execute, but also to be infectious enough, to be motivational enough to move others. That's why I've got this guy. I don't know who this guy is. Maybe I'll research him later on the screen in various stages and spaces of activity. Right. This
Mhm.
guy happened to be a male exotic entertainer at one point, so he had motion with women to the point where women were enthusiastically ready, willing, and able to pay to be in his presence. He had motion when it came to teaching and sharing his knowledge of game with other men. And of course, when we talk about personal training, the level of accuracy, specificity,
Mhm.
and encouragement he would provide for clients was evident, and it showed up physically when those who were uh, tasked with his tutelage received results. You see?
Yes.
And that is the point of this conversation. How do you apply these intangibles in order to affect a desired result? That is actually the first line in my book, The Seduction Scriptures. For those who have your copies, of course, you have your copies. When you open my book, The Seduction Scriptures, and you turn to that first page, now it's the first page that is after the title sheet, right? And you've got the copyright information, which shows the first date of publication. And on the other page, it gives the definition, my definition of seduction, which is the presentation and delivery of transmuted energy in order to achieve a desired result. So, from that and from everything that we do in terms of presenting these conversations and these lessons, all factor into you achieving a desired result. We also refer to that as winning. We also refer to that as achieving the mission. You see? Shout out to Chaika.
What's poppin', twin?
All right. Good evening, Cousin T and Uncle Rom. Shout out to, what does that say? At EC33.
What's poppin', twin?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just so you know, to keep the chat interactive, anybody who has questions, thoughts, or comments to add, if you want to do that in the form of a super chat, that is greatly appreciated. But in the meantime, everybody within the sound of our voices, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Forward this conversation to someone who you know can benefit from this ism, as well as blessing the Cash App that's scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
Yes, bless the Cash App, y'all.
Be sure to do that, and then sub the Patreons of the presenter. Ron, what's your thoughts on energy or having motion?
Well, you have to have it though, because like you talk about like the being a male exotic dancer, you're moving these women. You're moving it because that's what you're doing. Your actions are causing their actions to do something. So, I mean, and it's powerful. What is it about you that can move these ladies? Like you talking about the intangibles that's helping the players to win. Players are moving these women. They're moving them. Like the player, even if the player is just standing still, it's something about him that's causing a woman to move. Indeed, something inside of her might be moving. She might be responding. She see that guy and she getting that, she getting those tingles. She's feeling something. Something is moving. Indeed, that's why some men, no matter what they do, they ain't gonna get the woman. The woman ain't moved by that man. There's no energy there. He's not influencing her. But see, with the player, there's some influence. And whatever he's doing, just like I said, he could just stand there. He could just sit there. He could be there just eating some buffalo wings. I always tell that story, but I was influencing those women to move over to me. They didn't have to come to me for buffalo wings. They could have went right to the table, but they came to me. And I'm sitting there chilling. Don't want to be bothered. But they coming to me. But
These are
that was
facts.
that motion of influence, you know?
These are facts. And let's be clear, we have this opportunity, because as many of you know, all of you know, Ram, of course, is a multi-published author. And when we talk about energy and we look at his book, Nice Guys and Players,
Yes.
yes, within the simple difference in those terms within the title of the book is the difference of energy.
Yes.
How do you speak to the difference of energy between a nice guy and a player?
Very simple. The nice guy doesn't move a woman. He doesn't energize. She don't feel anything for him. I've had several women tell me that a nice guy feel like their brother. They don't feel that spark. And that means seriously, and they've used that term. They don't feel anything. It's like no matter what, I mean, he can look good, he can have all this stuff, he can be a good person, but they don't feel anything. See, with the player, they feel something. Like I said, I've had several women, they would tell me they knew, like one woman I was working with and dealt with her for a few years. She knew when I was around, even when her back was to me. I ain't saying anything, but she could feel me. Had another one. She said, I just had that energy to me. See, if you listen to women, they will tell you about the energy. And if you have it. Now,
Correct.
see, some guys don't have it. Some guys don't know about it. They're not generating it. Because the main thing with women, see, you get like one of the issues that we have now, so many guys thinking, oh, it's about looks, it's about looks. Yeah, they're looking at you, but they need to feel something.
Right.
They need to feel something. Women feel a man. They got to feel something. As an ex-girlfriend said to me one time, a man has to tug at a woman's heart. They feel something with their heart. That's the key to everything.
These are facts. Absolutely. Unknown, none. Oh, none. So you're mentioning camouflage pants, tank top. tan Timberlands, 5'11", 205 muscles. Are you describing your presence? Are you describing your physical presence, how you show up in a way that affects women? You also included also semi-sideways New York hat. Let us know. Are you describing your presence, how you show up in a space, and how that affects the energy of the space? Shout out to Pharaoh.
What's poppin', twin?
Says, what's happening, cousin T-Taw and General Ram Wills. Yes, indeed. So that is what we mean when we refer to a person's energy. What is the motion of your influence? How you influence yourself and others. So if people say, he ain't got no motion, right? Or he got tons of motion, that's what they're referring to.
Yeah,
He has,
they feeling it. They
yes.
can feel it. Like, and
Exactly.
that's what they look for in a man, because think about the word arousal.
Mm-hmm.
Arousal is making something move. Like in my book, Nice Guys and Players, I talked about what arousal really is. Imagine like a lake, like a clear lake. It's like a mirror. Arousal is just simply you skip a rock over it. All of a sudden you moving it.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Indeed. Uh,
Let me correct you, because I see what known unknown was saying. Let me just correct you.
this
If
here.
you really got that energy, it's not even about what you wear. You can wear a t-shirt and some jeans and the women going crazy. It's not about the clothes. Anybody can put on the clothes. So don't use that. Don't lean into that. That energy is coming from within you. Okay?
So for those who are
Always
listening,
remember that.
absolutely. So for those who are listening, this is Ram's response to None Unknown's comment here, which is a follow up to the description of a presence. He says it's a look, yes, aura. The show of presence brings him
No.
in. Can he close the deal? Can he make her say he a man? Okay.
No, but
Uh,
it's not the real energy. And I'm just being real. I'm not trying to jump on you, but I'm just letting y'all know the real energy though. Yeah, you can wear all those clothes. That's cool, but the real energy is coming from within. The real energy, the powers within. When I had my medical emergency a few years ago, there were a few nurses. I'm walking around there in a hospital bib, you know? I'm
mhm,
walking around there. I don't have any fly clothes or something, but
mhm.
had a couple nurses going crazy. It's just about the energy within. And I couldn't even walk, but I still had that energy within.
These are
Always
facts.
remember that. It's not don't lean on the clothes. See, that's one of the things as a man, if you want that energy, don't lean on your outer stuff. The energy's coming from within. Like a
Yeah.
man who really has that power, that energy, right? Is coming from within. Like I said, he can wear ordinary t-shirt, some ordinary pants, no name, no thing, some ordinary shoes, but the woman, she getting wet
These are
because
facts.
she's feeling the energy. See, don't look at the clothes. Don't lean on them, because that's how a lot of men get in trouble. They focus on their outer stuff, not even just their clothes, but their car, their
Mm.
watch, all of that
Mhm.
stuff. And no, it don't. No. And that's why you can get some dudes who can get women without doing all that. Like I know a dude now, he got women like crazy, but he don't walk around with anything stylish. Look like a bum when he's just walking around, but he got women like crazy. But they responded to his energy.
These are facts. For reference to what Ram is saying, everybody who has your copy of Nice Guys and Players, go to page 85. Go to page 85. That's where Ram talks about the masked man. So you
Hmm.
do have men who, what if you were wearing a suit? What if you weren't necessarily wearing, the fit with the Tims and the hat to the side? Can you still bring across the type of energy that moves a person in a business suit? Can you do that
Yeah.
in gym clothes? Can you do that wearing next to nothing. Okay, listen.
Yeah, because I know this dude. I ain't gonna call his name on here, but this dude, he was moving these women like crazy, but he didn't even have his own place. He was sleeping in a car.
Mhm.
He ain't have his own place for years, even to this day, still not his own place. But he's driving the women crazy. It's all about the energy. And see, that's where the point you want to get to. Don't lean on anything. And I have to really emphasize that. Like I said, I can understand because you get people out here saying, well, you gotta get this, you gotta look like this or something. But it's that energy. It's like if you just don't care. Like I said, when I had my medical emergency, I couldn't even walk. I wasn't even trying. I was getting women like crazy, but I ain't trying. And even now, like I be going out. I be just usually when I leave the house, I don't be wearing like the Lauren and the Lacoste or something. I be wearing some ordinary clothes. And like these people around here do not know what I do for a living.
These are facts. Shout out to Fresher Start says, player makes the clothes, clothes don't make the player. Yes, indeed. These are facts. These are facts. Shout out to Joe Blast. He says, it's like Rom said about the woman feeling his presence before she even saw him. Shout out to Kenneth Young. He says this, women can definitely tell if you have the energy. They will let you know. Yes, these are facts, Kenneth Young. They will make their way over into your presence. Depending on the circumstance and where you find yourself, what venue you find yourself, be it at work, be it at school, be it at the grocery store, be it in a parking lot. A woman's going to walk up to you and say, excuse me, have we met? Do I know you? You know, that's their way of their opening line, right? Can you help me get this packet of iced tea out of my shopping cart? It's just so heavy. You know, it's a packet of iced tea. But if I could use your help, that'd be great. That's their opening line, right? So again, when we talk about how a man's energy is his point of motion, is the way in which he impacts and influences not only himself, but those who are around him, and in particular, the type of woman that he desires to acquire and exchange with. This is what we mean. Salute to you, none unknown. We appreciate the dub.
Mhm.
Hear you say, not disagreeing with the elder. So, how are we defining intangibles? And could Kevin Samuels get the attention without the suits and environment he presented? I could definitely answer that first, but Rom, if you want to answer, if you want to start with that, go for it.
I'll just say, first of all, don't use Kevin Samuels as an example. Dude was like 6'5". He stood out no matter what, no matter what. He just trust me, all that extra stuff that he put on, that was just extra. He had his power within.
Yes,
His power was within. All that other stuff was extra. Kevin Samuels, trust me, he was going to get attention no matter what. No matter what. Yeah, he would dress up, have his suits on when he doing a show, but just Kevin, just who he was, how he carried himself.
these are facts.
And even then, I remember, strictly remember him talking about getting some clothes from a Goodwill place.
Hmm.
He said that. Come on, a Goodwill place? It wasn't him. He made his suits, he made his clothing.
Correct.
What you saw him wearing, it wasn't about the clothes, it was about him. If
Yes,
somebody else wore the exact same thing he wore, they wouldn't have any issues. Intangibles, we talking about the energy that you coming from within. All
these are
right.
facts. These are
And
facts.
don't use Kevin. He was not based on his suit. I mean, people who met him in person, I never meet him in person, but they said, "Shh, that dude was 6'5". That dude was tall, and the energy he carried himself. And like I said, he specifically, I'd never forget one show. He said, "Hey, you can get some clothes out of a Goodwill place."
Yes.
So that is. But what were you going to say about it?
No, I was going to say, first of all, salute to the ancestor, Kevin Samuels. He's still with us, and his legacy still lives on. Part of his legacy has to do with the person underneath the clothes, because as Rom alluded to, Kevin put the suit on so as a uniform, and I remember him mentioning this in a talk. Dress for the occasion, dress for the environment that you look forward to entering. There was a lot of conversations that happened between he and other men well before he started having conversations with women about
Mhm.
relationships.
Yes.
And the majority of the conversations he would have with men had to do with sharpening your skill sets, had to do with solidifying the basics within your own life. Well
Mhm.
before he would focus on applying the grooming techniques, appropriating a scent profile that matched your natural body chemistry, and ultimately getting a custom fitting suit so that you feel comfortable navigating
Mhm.
multiple rooms that you were not familiar with necessarily, in order to, in his opinion, graduate to becoming a high value man in his definition and in his opinion. So to have that understanding is what we want to make sure that we impress upon those who are listening. But once again, shout out to the ancestor. We appreciate all of his contributions that still keep producing
Yeah.
gems and valuable lessons for those who are paying attention. So the next particular quality that we want to highlight as an intangible that, if you master this, will help you win is vibe. Now, this is an interesting one, because a lot of people associate this intangible with the feminine aspect. And you know what, Rom? I don't disagree. I
Mhm.
don't disagree. Because when we talk about tapping into the inner self, that inner knowing, that intuitive understanding, this is what we're referring to when we use the word vibe. And just as a brief sort of descriptor for vibe, it is the dynamic of sending, receiving, and interpreting perspective and intent, aka a woman's intuition or a man's gut feeling. So this particular intangible is such an important, useful element when navigating certain spaces. And specifically when we apply it to the mating, dating, and relating landscape, a man has to be able to trust his gut. He has to be able to trust his intuitive self in order to get an accurate read on the person that's sitting across from him, be it at a lounge, be it
Yes.
in an office space, be it
Well,
at school. Go ahead, Rom.
I was just gonna say vibe is very important because women, they want to feel something. That
Mhm.
vibe. I mean, I remember there's been a couple times like on IG, um, the question would be asked for women, what's important for you? And they would say looks. Is it looks, money, personality, vibe? A lot of times women would say vibe, how they feel. Like, are they comfortable around you?
Yes. No, absolutely. And when I mention the word vibe and how it's used in my book, The Seduction Scriptures, I use it in the context of speaking the language of women, because they can appreciate how the intuitive interpretation of a new man that they're meeting for the first time at a party, at a gathering, at a bar, at a lounge, at a
Mhm.
social space. The vibe that a guy, a perspective sort of, I don't want to say suitor, but the perspective mate that she is entering into an exchange with will he will inform her of the quality of that experience even before he starts talking.
Yes.
And this is a challenging one. I really want to sit here for just a sec, because when we talk about how a man progresses from his developmental stage, we're talking about how he understands who he is and what his capabilities are as a young man, as a child in the schoolyard, right? What happens when you're confronted with a bully? Do you run? Do you go, ask for help? Do you tell? Do you fight back? What do you do? Do you try to talk your way out of the situation? There's so many responses to just that example that factors into how what type of energy you put off, what type of information you telegraph, you see, and that's transferable into other aspects of life. You see, when we talk about the intangible known as vibe, this also leads to how young women and men in popular scenarios within the developmental stage of life, let's just say high school, let's just say the popular kids in school, one side being the female side, being the dance squad, being the cheerleaders, right? Being the popular girls, the other side being the guys, the captain of the football team, the captain of the basketball team, the jocks, the young men who are involved in extracurricular activities, Mr. Popular, right? The president of, the class president. When those students, and this is the part that's probably going to touch a nerve with a lot of people, but again, I need you to sit with this for just a moment. When those people look at certain students who may be clearly socially underdeveloped, who may be loners, so to speak, who may be outsiders, even to the point of being labeled as lame, what's happening? What's happening in that moment? Does a high school student have the vocabulary to articulate the social landscape and the complexities of behavior? No. So what are students, what are adolescents basing their assessment on a person on? Their vibe, their energy. You see? A young person doesn't know what they don't know. So they have to rely on their intuitive self heavily. They have to rely on their intuition. They have to rely on social cues within that respective environment in order to place a label on someone who is displaying a level of social inadequacy, a level of social underdevelopment. Now, take that and apply it to the scenario of the bully, right? How do you respond to a bully? Now, everybody's respective response is your own, whatever happened at that stage in your life. But what your determination or your response was at that moment spoke to the inner self of who you were. And that factored into your development. There are still those who are going to therapy, still trying to unpack what happened between them and a bully back in high school. You see, you either stood up to the bully, or you ran from the bully, or you fought the bully, or you got beat up by the bully, right? Or someone stepped in to defend you. Same thing with those who were popular and labeled someone with the tag, oh, they're cool, oh, they're edgy, all they're talented, or all they're lame. You see, that can either present a challenge for you to seek development, to seek mentorship, to seek a way to progress and to grow out of that. Or, as in the case of so many, they internalize that. They
Mhm.
take that with them, even into adulthood. Look at Michael B. Jordan. This is going to be a fun clip to make, right, Ron? When I do the clip and we can do the timeline progression. $50 million net worth, Oscar
Mhm.
award winner, blockbuster movie actor,
Yes.
still unpacking and dealing with that label that was applied to him in high school.
Yes.
So it doesn't necessarily matter how much money you make, how
No.
much status you attain to. If you have not dealt with the vibe or the intangible that was labeled or put upon you or identified during your developmental stages, even now,
Mhm.
this is the opportunity to identify and to address that, these conversations. Because I know I'm speaking to people very specifically. Obviously, we're not going to single anybody out.
Yeah.
But when we are moved to have these specific conversations and to include these specific topics and these specific terms, we know that we're speaking to an individual, or we're speaking to a group who feels like they were labeled with this. They were burdened with this branding, and they didn't have an outlet. They didn't have an alternative. They didn't have a way forward. They didn't have a manner of education, mentorship, tutelage, you see, leadership that could assist them on their path towards mastery. Could you imagine?
Mm.
Because when we look at the Michael B. Jordan case study,
Yeah.
the young lady, L'Oreal, who, went to the same high school as he, when she relates the story about what happened,
Yeah.
she mentions, skinny kid,
Mhm.
always carried around headshots.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Obviously, he had his own quirkiness to him. You see,
Mhm.
his focus was on achieving entry into his craft.
Yes.
Whereas when he landed the role in The Wire, you saw him as this wiry kid, this small, you know, um, this small framed young man who was budding in his acting career.
Yes.
Now, had he received tutelage, could you imagine if Deion Sanders was a coach at Michael B. Jordan's school? I'm just giving
Oh.
an example. Obviously, I'm wearing my Colorado gear. You see how we have to perform these thought experiments in order to bring the point home. Had Michael B. Jordan, a young high school student, Michael B. Jordan, had the mentorship of a Deion Sanders, could you imagine the trajectory? He still may have taken up acting, but he would
Mhm.
also have athletics on his resume.
Yes.
Could you imagine the impact that would have had? Because when we look at the film,
Been very powerful.
absolutely, we look at the examples that Coach Dion has. Could you imagine him in high school talking to the football team, bringing in a Brittany Renner to
Mm.
caution them? This is what mentorship does.
Yes.
Bringing in examples from the real world and having them speak to the potential stars, the potential high level athletes. Had Michael B. Jordan had a mentor like Deion Sanders at his developmental stages, he would have been able to come to him and say, "Hey, coach, these students, man, they're calling me lame. They talk about me bringing my headshots to school. What should I do?" Deion Sanders would have spoke life into that young man.
Yes.
He would have spoke the level of motivation unlike anyone else could have. You see? Because Deion Sanders would have said, "You know what? I was once in your shoes and I had to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Do I
did though.
receive that level? Do I receive that label and internalize it? Or do I take that and use it as fuel for the fire? Can you imagine those speeches, those talks they would have had?
And Deion Sanders, I heard something about him. He wasn't Neon Dion at first.
Right,
He was not Neon Dion at first, but no telling who his mentor was,
right.
who got him to that level. So he definitely would have spoke life into a Michael B. Jordan. I mean, look at what Michael B. Jordan is doing now, but imagine if someone like Deion Sanders had spoke life to him way back then.
Yes, and here's the point.
Oh,
Let me bring it home. Let me land this plane really quickly because we see that Michael B. Jordan still is in and out of relationships. We don't know ultimately what happened with Lori Harvey. All right. I
mhm.
mentioned that name because you know how I feel about her. All right. Shout out to Lori Harvey. I don't care what nobody
Yeah.
say about her. In any case, there's a reason why it didn't go as planned, as he had planned. He, proposed and it eventually dissolved.
Hmm.
Subsequent relationships went the same way. A relationship that he had prior to Lori Harvey went the same way. Now,
Hmm.
when we are observing a case study like this, we have to look at the common denominator. You see?
Hmm.
Either he is choosing someone that's incompatible, either his vetting process is off and or non-existent, or he is trying to fulfill something that was lacking during his developmental stage.
Yeah.
See?
Well, the only thing all these women had in common is him. I mean, is no ifs, ands, and buts.
Yeah.
So he has to deal with something within him. Now, it's not obvious we seeing it, they're not talking about it, everything he's doing. But, as someone like yourself, you seeing something. You seeing something. You ain't paying attention to the Oscar and all of that. You saying, well, hold up. He's with Lori Harvey, he's with these other women. What's going on? And
Yes.
it's something there. It's something he's and still feeling. He
Yeah.
still, there's something in him, in my view, still might be that guy who was called lame in high school.
Hmm.
He still might not have got over it. He's still thinking about it, you know? I mean, if I would have talked with him, I'd say, look, man, you were there, but you're not there any longer. He has to have, like, if we're going to let's get more metaphysical on it.
Let's go.
Somebody has to deal with his inner child. His
Hmm.
inner child, he's still having some pain from that. He's still having some pain because even when he had mentioned to that late, what was that woman who interviewed him and
L'Oreal.
reminded her, L'Oreal, and just how he said it, how he looked at her, he still feels something. And that's something that
Daggers.
you have to deal with. That's something he's going to have to deal with. Seriously, he's going to have to deal with. I mean, and see, that's a lot of people, men and women. No matter what you see, a lot of people have something that goes back to them. It takes a whole lot to break that inner child, that child that's still wounded and stuff.
Correct.
Psychologists, right? You know,
Yes.
psychologists, they would be like, oh, okay, they would probably work with him and don't telling who he might be talking to outside of that. Shoot, they like, oh, you're a millionaire, you all this. Let me work him. Let me work him. And I mean,
Clearly.
there's a lot of little stuff. There's a
Clearly.
lot of little stuff there. So, he has to deal. That energy is still there. It still has to be dealt with.
Yes. And I will say this before we move forward. Salute to those who are posting their thoughts in the chat, including the super chat. We'll get to that in just a sec. You know how, I'm chilling with fine shit, right? We chop it up, we talk, we get into various subject matters. One of the things that we talk about is the culture. All right. Just like I have my top 5 rappers, she has her top 5 rappers. Now, what we have in common is the rapper LL Cool J. He's number 5 on my list. He's number 6 on her list. She puts Lil Wayne in front of LL Cool J, but that's neither here nor there. Here's the point. I brought up Michael B. Jordan in a conversation because my little Fansha, she was a cheerleader in high school. So she was part of the popular kids who would label, okay, others. All right. And I asked her, what do you think about Michael B. Jordan? And this was a cold piece. All right. This was a cold piece of information, right? We brought up videos of LL Cool J and compared them to videos of Michael B. Jordan. And the contrast was immediate and sobering. You see, the videos that we brought up were just personal interviews at home, interviews, they do, for promotion or just having podcast conversations. When Michael B. Jordan isn't acting, isn't, in character promoting a role, and he's just himself, his energy is the sort of energy that you would apply to a nice guy. You see? But when we talk about an LL Cool J, how he's just chopping it up in interviews, talking about, the motivation for the various songs that he wrote, the beefs that he had, or just enjoying life in general. That energy is that of an OG. You see? LL Cool J will always be a player. Players never hand in their card. They simply graduate. They graduate through the spaces of Mac and now OG. So it was just an interesting experiment that we did that showed a complete contrast in energy and personality and expressionality when it's not in the space of acting, because you can only act for so long before your true self emerges. And like what happened in that particular interview, like you mentioned, Ram, there is evidence of a childhood wound that has not been properly addressed, assessed, and healed. You see, this is just one example of why mastering the intangibles is how players win. Now, salute to you again, none unknown, for the sawbuck. Appreciate that. He says, intangibles universal or depends on the octane. Thank you, elders, for teaching the next, because women can make us or break us. I appreciate it. Tad bit. Rob, do you want to respond to that first? I have a response, but as the guest, if you want to go first.
You can take it, man, because
Yeah.
just that can make us or break us. I'm like, is this young man listening to what we've been saying for weeks on here?
Well, he's trying to learn. He's trying to learn it. And shout out to him
Okay, but
for continuing to
look,
show
a
up.
woman, you can't be in a position where a woman can make or break you. You got to be him, because you can't look outside of yourself for any type of validation.
That's
You have
correct.
to feel good about yourself. A woman, she could try whatever. Trust me. Like I've been out here. Look, I've had some women try to do whatever, say whatever, and I just look at them and be like, yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
And they be like, and they be rejecting all that. I was like, okay. And I've had some women, they try to like break me down or something. I just be like, yeah, okay, whatever. Then they come back, they friendly. They be like, damn, what's up? Because I don't need you for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I disagree with that. A woman can't make or break a man. If you who you are inside, ain't nothing anybody outside of you can do, no matter
These are
how
facts.
hard they try.
These are facts. Now, Ram, of course, brought up several important facts here, important components of this thing that we call ism. The first thing is this. Obviously, known and unknown is still in its developmental stages, and that's completely understandable. But to a grown-ass man, a woman cannot make or break him. That is something that a statement like that's understandable for a younger person. because in your developmental stages, as in the case of what we just broke down with Michael B. Jordan, a woman can impact that. A young woman can impact that. And this is why we encourage mentorship. This is why we encourage someone finding and discovering the tutelage of a masculine master, of a player, macro OG, because yes, without self-knowledge, without self-awareness, without this thing that we call foundational game, a woman can definitely break you. And so when we talk about the aspect of your question, are the intangibles universal or depends on the octane? They are certainly universal, because when we look at the various octanes, and this can be another conversation for another day, the intangibles flow throughout class systems and class structures. Your energy transverses classes. Your presence transverses classes. It's all about the delivery and the way that you show up in a certain class or an environment that makes the difference between how effective you are at being who you are. So salute to you. Appreciate that. Keep asking those questions as you continue on your path of mastery. Shout out to Fresher Start. We appreciate that. Absolutely. Says this: if I currently lack a large number of women, would it help me gain a large amount of women to believe that I already have it in my mind, body, and soul? I have an answer to that question. Rob, do you want to take that first?
You can just take it, man.
All right. My first response to that question is, do you want a large number of women? That's where we would start with that. And what does that mean to you? Because the large number of women for some people can be 2. What does that number look like? And how does that show up within your program? You see? And notice the language that I'm using here. You said, if I currently lack a large number of women, would it help me gain a large number of women to believe that I already have it in my mind, body, and soul? So you mentioned having it or having a large number of women. I mentioned applying them to your program. This shows a difference in framing and mentality and how we would apply this thing that we refer to as foundational game. You see? Because, and hopefully you answer those questions, fresh to start. What is the number that you're referring to as a large number of women? And why do you want that number of women in your life? Because then we can break down how those women factor into your life. But shout out to you for that. We appreciate that. Yes, indeed. And there was another question that I wanted to make sure that we. Okay, now we got them. So now we want to remind everybody who is within the sound of our voice to like, share, and subscribe. Forward this conversation to someone who you know can benefit from this ism, as well as blessing the Cash App that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen before you sub to the Patreon of the presenters. Now, we have talked about vibe. We have talked about presence. We have talked about energy.
Yes.
Now let's get into that thing known as spirit, Ram. Yes.
Oh, yes.
This is that great intangible that when mastering this and applying the knowledge of this will help the practitioner to win. Before we really get into discussing this, let me cover a description of what I mean when I say spirit. Ram, you can You can say yay or nay or and when when I give this description. Okay,
Go ahead.
spirit, the frequency of practice, the essence of our activity and being, as reflected in others within a collective. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I agree.
Okay,
Yes.
great, great.
Yes, because spirit is spreading. And I mean, you have the examples here on the screen, the player with the yogi, the Mac with the guru, and the OG with the Swami. But all of them, right? All of them is really, really matching. It's just a different frequency they might be on. They might be in different areas or something. But this is what's going on.
Hmm. No, these are facts. All of them carry the spirit of the player. You see,
Mhm.
throughout a practitioner of foundational game, we find this frequency involved in all of our practices. You see, we find it as we approach the workspace. We find it as we approach our endeavors, especially when we are determining what our mission is. When we talk about a player's mission, we are talking about some vital elements of how we move, how we
Mhm.
set up our program, how we establish the networks and connections that we have in our lives. But most importantly, how we interact with different people, especially women. How
Mhm.
much influence, when I say influence, I'm talking about feminine influence. Feminine influence we allow a woman to bring to our lives. All of these things, all of these dynamic factor into the spirit of a player, the spirit of a Mac, the spirit of an OG. And of course, when we're involved in a particular dynamic, for those who have received the lesson in that how a player, Mac or OG, shows up, that presence, if you want to talk about that impacting people, let's talk about how the spirit of a player, Mac or OG, impacts a person and an environment. You see,
Yes.
we talked about people who, well, there are many who talk about people who, when they enter the room, it sucks all of the air out of it. All eyes are on this person. You see,
Mhm.
they're merely showing up shifts the energy, shifts the momentum, shifts the forces within that room, the gravity in their direction. And their presence can make or break a particular dynamic. You've heard of the life of the party, right, Rob?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is a representation of a person's spiritual quality. You see, there's some who show up to a party and it kicks into high gear. Everybody starts cheering, dapping them up, giving a high five, bringing them over to the DJ, to get his request. Why don't you say a few things, right?
Yeah,
We're
well,
so happy.
that's their energy. That's what they bring in as soon as they walk in the room.
Yeah.
That's that spiritual thing. Like you got some situations where I ain't gonna get too deep into why this happened, but you might have like some clubs or something,
Mhm.
and they have a party going on and it's not going well, but then they have one person there who might text a couple people to come through, and all of a sudden the party's changing. They changing the energy of it.
Right.
And when you look at a yogi, when you look at a guru, when you look at a swami, their power is really in the energy that they project, not even the words that they saying, not what they saying, not what they doing, but in the frequency of what they're doing, the energy.
Mhm.
Like you can just put them in a room. Like I remember it was a Vietnamese spiritual leader. Me and my co-parent went to see him This was a few decades ago. And he wasn't really doing much, but the way he was affecting the energy of everybody in the room was powerful, was powerful. And when you talk about comparing the player to the yogi, the Mac to the guru, and the OG to the Swami, it's really the same thing. It's the same principle. They might be in different areas. The OG might be at the party and the Swami might be at some spiritual retreat or something, but it's still the same thing.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
Yes. So if the player is the life of the party, let's keep this scenario going. If the player is the life of the party when he arrives, when the Mac arrives, he brings true boss energy to
Yes.
the establishment. You see, a lot of times when the Mac shows up, that's when the bottles come out. You see, that's when they bring out the featured entertainment. You see, when a Mac shows up, he's got the spirit of gravity. He's got the spirit of motivation, of influence within a dynamic. So if the player is the life of the party, the Mac is the boss of the party. Oh, but when the OG shows up,
Oh yeah.
when the OG shows up, I feel it. Give me 2 seconds, Rom. Give me 2 seconds. When the OG shows up to the gathering, to the event, to the party, now the spiritual steward has arrived.
Yes.
The OG is the one that is brought in to bless the event, to pray over the food. You see how we went through that progression? You see how we went into the graduated levels of this thing? Same spirit, but in a magnified vessel. You see, as a student of this thing that we refer to as foundational game progresses on his path of masculine mastery, graduates through the phases and the eras of his being, he's the life of the party as the player. He's the boss in the room as the Mac. And finally, hopefully, this is the ultimate sign of respect. When the OG arrives, and those who are within the sound of our voices, you can apply this to those who you know. When a mature person enters into an event, does the party end? Or now is it time to really elevate the energy? Is it time to really elevate the energy, the momentum of the occasion? You see, when an OG arrives, like I said, he is there to bless the event. The fact that he is even there is a blessing. And those who recognize the spiritual quality that an OG presents and carries, so that he would even find it worthy of his presence to be the blessing factor in this arrangement, speaks volumes to the overall quality of the event. So now, okay, OG is here. Come pray. Come bring this gathering into the level of elevation that it deserves. You see, now we're talking about all of these intangibles coming together. This is where the sum total of the intangibles come together. Because when you have these various elements, as we're using as the example of the party, when they come together, they all bring the environment and the elements and the collectives together full circle. You see?
Yes.
That's why the power of a Deion Sanders is so coveted, and it makes the establishment jealous. Let's be careful now. I want to keep this monetized, but we got to say it. We got to go there. That's why when we invoke the name of certain ancestors and certain elders,
Mm-hmm.
people listen. You see, even when we talk about Kevin Samuels, his name is mentioned throughout many spaces, across subject matter, across domains, because of the status that he attained. You see?
And people,
And go ahead,
let
please.
me just say that. I mean, some people just using it because they feel like, yeah, I put his name on there, but there's a power behind his name. There's
Exactly.
a power behind it. People checking it out. Oh, Kevin Samuels. They talking about Kevin Samuels. Let me jump into it. But that's power. That's moving people to check it out. That's the energy to it. People feeling a some type of way, listening to his words or listening to whatever he was teaching.
Yes.
So it's a powerful thing. At this point, now everybody don't have the spiritual way, but he's a powerful ancestor now.
Yes.
He's a powerful ancestor. People, they call on his name, they call on his energy, and they're using it.
Yes. And let's take this even further. We're gonna keep the analogy of the party rolling. All right, since we done got started, and of course we've got more in store for those who are listening. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe this particular conversation with those who you know can benefit from this ism, as well as blessing the Cash App scrolling at the bottom of the screen and subbing to the Patreons of the presenters for more in-depth and integrated tools, tips, systems,
Mhm.
and structures within this thing we refer to as foundational game. Let's go back to the party. When we talk about how practitioners of foundational game bring a life to the party
Mhm.
in the realm of a spiritual occasion, there is nothing. I'm going to say this again real slow. There is nothing more spiritual than the cookout.
Man. Wait, before you get into that,
Mhm.
man, before you get into that, I was just thinking about when I was at it was a poetry thing, and this is way back, this back in the 90s. And I remember this dude who had he owned some books, he owned a chain of bookstores in the Washington, DC area. And I remember just the power that he had when he was just standing in the entranceway to this other bookstore.
Mhm.
And he was just standing there. All he had on was a suit. He had, had his locks and stuff. He had on a suit jacket and all of that, but just the power. And see, that's what we're talking about, the frequency of his spirit. I mean, and I just thought about that. I was like,
Yes, indeed.
because if you really think about it, I mean, yeah, we're talking about a party now and everything, but if you really apply this, people have this in different areas.
Yes.
People have this. Certain people have it. Certain people, not everybody, unfortunately.
But
But
these are facts.
we'll work on that part. We want more of you to have it. I would just say this to everyone listening before cousin T Talk goes on. Really listen and apply everything that we're saying. We want to get you to the point where you walk into that room. They want you to bless everything. They want you to bless that cookout. Go ahead, cousin T Talk.
Yes, indeed. Because let's be clear. And of course, we're speaking about the culture that we belong to, the foundational Black American culture, when we refer to the cookout. You
Oh
see,
man.
there is no event that's more spiritual than the cookout. We think about the elements that exist in a so-called religious setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a space where a collective body meets to celebrate their faith, to worship in ritual, to present songs of rejoicing. All of those elements exist at the cookout. All I'm going to say is this, and you're going to know exactly what I mean. The official hymn of the cookout is none other than Frankie Beverly featuring Maze, Before I Let Go. Anybody, listen, let me tell you. When that song comes on, there's a spirit that moves through the cookout.
Yes.
See? And we have so many other songs, we can call them hymnals, that represent the spirit of the occasion. Michael Jackson, Gladys Knight, Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, Luther Vandross. There's so many songs that are elevated to the spiritual level that brings the element of the collective together in this gathering, in this particular dynamic. And when you have the presence of an OG and you have the presence of a big mama, watch out. You got OG energy and big mama energy present. You know that you're going to have a memorable lifetime event happening in that moment.
Because
go ahead, please.
well, in our culture, elders are respected. They ain't just put into some home or something. What they've done is respected. Yeah, things don't get started until the elders say, "Oh yeah, let's just go ahead and get it started." You
Yeah.
know, there is when the OG comes through, when Big Mama comes through, you don't play with that. Now, if you in our culture, you understand that truly in our culture. If you're not, just understand that. Just understand the power. You know, just
Yeah.
understand the power of auntie. Just understand the power of uncle. All
Correct.
right. Just understand that. When you understand that, you understand a whole lot more. And you understand those are not just random terms that they just going to give to somebody. You have to be in a place where you earn those terms.
Correct.
You have to earn being called an uncle. You have
Yeah.
to be or an uncle. You have to earn being called auntie.
Yes.
And that power is just respected. That power is just respected, or an OG, because you're a spiritual leader. Things don't get started. Even when they have a prayer, those are the ones who lead the prayer. You might have a minister there,
Yes.
but they're the ones who lead the prayer.
These are facts. And so these are just examples of how these particular intangible dynamics of this thing that we refer to as foundational game are applied in actual life. You see, folks will be asking for an invitation to the cookout before they look for an invitation to the church. Let me stop. Let me let me cut it off at the pass.
Cookout, family reunion.
These are facts. The kickback.
Whatever. Yeah.
Right. Because we are talking about human activities that thrive on the intangibles, that those who have mastery, those who are students, practitioners, players, max and OGs of this thing that we refer to as foundational game, bring in abundance. You see? And this applies in more spaces than the sacred space of the cookout, in more spaces than the simple kickback, in more spaces than just social gatherings. This applies to the workspace. This applies to the mission space.
Yes.
Are you doing volunteer work? Are you doing initiatives that involve community building? Are you giving back? It's back to school time, Ron. At my local laundromat, you got flyers sponsored by the Soul Food Restaurant, flyers sponsored by the local vegan growers, right? We've got community gardens in Chicago. And the proprietors of those businesses sponsor back to school initiatives, clothing drives, free haircuts, school supplies, right?
Okay.
Now, we can't say that for all other businesses, all right? Unfortunately, but that speaks volumes to what community actually means. In any case, to wrap up this particular dynamic within the intangibles that players, Max and OGs, master in order to win. When we talk about someone who affects the spirit of a dynamic, when we apply this to the mating, dating, and relating landscape, those who have mastered the intangible of spirit command the space. You
Yes.
see, when you are in the position of steward, you are in the position of God level game. Remember my definition of God, the apex of cultural stewardship. That puts you in the position to be the director, to be the commander, to be the leader, to be the prototype of a dynamic. And
Yes.
so those who are within your care and keeping, those who are under your mentorship, those who are receiving your tutelage are not only confident in your ability to lead, but they look forward to your leadership.
Yes.
This is the answer to all of those conversations that are had throughout various spaces, either online or in person, about women not wanting to follow the leadership of men. You see? What is it that they are refusing to follow? We are talking about the answer to that. You see? They are saying that they have not established a spiritual connection with a man. You see?
Yeah, because that's ultimately what they look for. See, like I'm famous for saying a man makes love to a woman's body, but a woman makes love to a man's mind.
Mhm.
See, the thing is, that's deep down what they're looking for. They're looking for the spirit. Think about it. God the Father,
Mhm.
you talk about Mother Earth, that's the
Yes.
physical plane. But the
Yes.
spirit, that's more the father plane, the male plane. And that's what women are looking for. And they're
Yes.
looking for that in a man. They're looking for that energy, that spiritual energy. They want to feel that spiritual energy. That's why, I mean, some of the biggest players are ministers and stuff.
Indeed.
I remember I was around this ex pimp, and I said, I said, preachers are pimps in the pulpit. And he looked at me. He said it in a mean way too. He said, "Don't insult pimps like that."
These are facts.
But that's the thing, though. If that's why you get like those like gurus or ministers or whatever, they can have a ton of women, but they have that spiritual thing with them, and the women going crazy over them.
Yes.
Indeed, when I first selling my book, Nice Guys and Players, some of the first people to buy them were a bunch of ministers.
Mhm.
They were some ministers and stuff, but they understood it. Then they didn't argue with me or anything, but they understood it because it really does go on a deeper level than some people realize. Some people think it's just the surface, but that's just to get you in there. If you really read it and you really understand it, you really open your third eye, so to speak. You
Yes.
can see there's more to it.
Yes.
And
And here's the
that's
acid
the
test.
thing.
We like to give homework. I had a wonderful consultation earlier today, and
Okay.
I made sure I assign homework. To give the students something to think about and to process in between sessions. Now, here's a question for the chat and for all of those who will listen on the restream. When content creators, when talk shows, when podcasts discuss the infamous Pookie and Ray Ray archetype, let's apply this lesson that we just taught, right? And this is the killer question. Somebody mentioned Kendra G earlier when we were discussing Michael B. Jordan. Ask this simple question, because of course we know that women love a good man who can take her through there, right?
Take me through that. Take me through that.
However, when we talk about someone who qualifies as the destination, ask this question. Next time you're on a panel, the next time you're in a chat where they're discussing how much influence and power the so-called Pookie and Ray Ray have over women, can or will that woman allow him to bless an event? Can that Pookie or Ray Ray pray over a meal, pray over a gathering? And there's your answer in terms of who she will allow herself to lay with and who she will allow herself to be led by.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. I don't know if anybody can really handle that because they want to use Pookie and Ray Ray, but that's really a blame game. That's something. But really, that's not really who's on top of the pyramid. Never has been. Never has been. But see, you get some guys, they don't understand this level of it. They don't understand that spiritual, that energetic level of it.
And
They want they deep down, not even deep down in a lot of cases, they want that guy who can pray over it.
thank you.
They want that guy who can pray over it. I want y'all to think about that though. Even though I just gave it, I want everybody to really think about that. Do they really want that guy? Or is that just somebody, archetype just for people to blame because they feel like, oh, this man's getting those women? Not really.
Because
Not really.
there's another side to it, Rom.
Okay.
Can the nice guy pray over an event? Can he bless a gathering? You see?
I'm gonna
Is
tell
he?
you what. Let
Go
me let
for it.
me answer that. Let me answer that. Not really. He doesn't
That's
really.
the point.
He don't really. He don't have the energy. He doesn't have it because if you really look at somebody who has that energy, it's a certain energy to it. The nice guys simply don't have it. That's why women call them nice. Nice is just woman needs. Like he don't turn me on. That's all it is. It's not about how kind he treating people because a lot of times what a nice guy is doing is just trying to use that as a covert contract, saying I'm doing this and that for you. You need to be doing this for me. I'm
Yeah.
treating you nice, listening to all your stuff. You supposed to be having sex with me. See,
Yes.
they not really doing it. Like if I do anything nice for a woman, it's because I want to do it for that particular woman. There's some issue coming up. I'm not trying to get anything back. Because I remember way back in the day, I helped out this woman who was going through some stuff, and this other woman thought I wanted something. I say, nah, I ain't want anything from her.
Mm-hmm.
She needed some help. And
Yes.
that's all. I wasn't trying to get with her. I wasn't trying. I wasn't doing it for that because I don't believe in that contract thing. Now, if I do something, I want something. Now, if I don't want anything from that woman or I don't want to do something, I'm just not going to do it. And see, guys got to think about that. See, I'm gonna tell you what, and this might be another conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Nice guys just got a game, in my view, that just doesn't work.
Speak on that. Speak
They
on
they they
that.
got a game that doesn't
Yes.
work. They
Listen.
doing all this stuff deep down. They know they want that woman to back that thing up to have that booty just waving in the air and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they just do all this nice stuff. See, the player just be like, "Girl, you's a big fine woman. Won't you back that thing up?" The player just tell her. In fact, she'll want it. She'll she'll get down on that floor and make love to his shadow or something.
Indeed.
But the
Well,
nice guy is trying to do all this stuff. He's looking to her for validation. He's looking to her to like fulfill her end of the contract, her end of the deal. He doing all this nice stuff. He's saying, "Well, I'm doing all this. This what you supposed to do." No, you don't work
mm,
that way. When she gets with the player, it's an exchange of energy.
Listen.
I be a player for life. So where's my wife?
Listen, what Ram just said. Let me take this down for 2 seconds because Ram, I want you to address what this person said. What you just said speaks to everything that we're talking about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You just said the nice guy looks to the woman for validation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Impactful. That statement in and of itself speaks
Yeah.
to the difference between someone who is a student and a practitioner of foundational game and someone who is not. The
Mhm.
reason why I said a woman won't look, the same reason why a woman won't look to a so-called Pookie and Ray Ray to bless an event or to pray over a meal, it's the same reason why she won't look to a nice guy to do the same thing, because she can't. There's an energy, there's a spiritual essence, an element involved with that
Mhm.
practice. You have to have that in you. You have to have the fire that
Yes.
is present, that is not present in a nice guy. But you also have to have that frequency.
Yeah.
Here we go. You
That
got to have that
frequency. Go ahead, that
frequency
energy.
that
Yes.
is
Yes.
not present when we're talking about a so-called Pookie and a Ray Ray, because if they had that frequency, they would not have that title. I'm going to say it again. If they had that frequency, they would not have that title. And the frequency is something that is beyond those archetypes. It's something that outlasts the so-called nice guy phase, because he will never look to a woman for influence or validation. You
No.
see?
No,
This
and that's the important thing to remember. If you just remember that, that's why earlier when that young man said something about women making or breaking us, I was like, no.
was a young man. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. But that's how you can tell that that person is
No,
inexperienced.
no, 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 no. Because if a man, if he's really look, see, he gotta look within everything about him. Because the women come and go. Like I always say, a man's main relationship is with himself. He got his main thing is his mission. And then when he's dealing with the women, do they fit into his world? Not the other
Exactly.
way around. That's why
I
a
agree.
lot of women don't respect that. That's why really, if you want a woman, she gonna do something. Like, and I'll tell you afterwards and stuff.
Mhm.
I just somebody reached out to me, so I was doing, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this. And she said three powerful words to me. She said,
Mhm.
can I help?
Let's go. Let's go.
I'll tell you,
Absolutely.
I'll
Yes.
tell you who that is afterwards. But she said that I was like, oh snap. In just three simple words, not I love you, not you fine. Can I help?
These are facts. These are
Because I
facts.
said what I was doing, right? But she saw the energy. I wasn't trying to please her and all of that, you know?
No, these are facts. And let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's put a bow on this situation when we talk about the differences between average men, typical men, and men with game, students, practitioners, players,
Hmm.
Max and OGs. We carry an energy, we carry a spirit with us.
Hmm.
Is she? I call it the ASP Holy Ghost. Rom calls it the spirit of the Mr. Goodbar. There are
Hmm.
other teachers who
Hmm.
refer to it as something else, but at the end of the day, in the beginning of the next, it is the spirit of leadership. It is the spirit of
Yeah.
stewardship.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is the spirit of mastery. You see,
Yes.
Ron, what do you think about this one here? Graph Unleashed says, look at the etymology of the word nice. It derives from a word meaning ignorant, if I recall correctly. What are your thoughts on that, really quick?
I'll just say this. I agree with that. Because, when you get some of these nice guys, they really don't understand women. They really don't. It's better that that nice guy gets on his mission and does his thing and then pay attention to the women who want to help him in that mission. He's trying to convince a woman to like him because he's doing all this. First of all, that women really choose the men. But see, the man, he ain't playing that game or something. See, basically, that woman wants to come into his world,
Hmm.
you know?
No, these are facts. And that's why she looks for the destination. She looks for a
Yeah.
man who has established a space for his resting and for her nesting. And it is a
Yes.
stark contrast between the
Mm.
type of man who looks for validation in a woman and the type of man who seeks validation from his impact.
Mhm.
Shout out to
And that's the
Officer. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, yeah, shout out to Officer Wow. No, that's the thing. That's the thing to remember. And it's the energy. That's why I say your power comes from within. That's the thing. Your frequency. What are you doing? But it's from within you. It don't come from anybody else. It don't
All
come from
facts.
anybody else. It don't come not even with your clothes or whatever. It comes from within you. And then everything else just enhances what you're doing. Your clothes, how you talk, everything. But everything comes from within you, then it goes without.
These are facts.
And then that's what they respond to. And that's what they're feeling.
Indeed, indeed. And welcome into Charles Faulkner, Officer Faulkner, if you care to recognize that. Absolutely. So we were talking about influence. We talk about the established position of authority, you see.
Hmm.
And so rounding the corner to the fruition of today's lesson, we have to be able to appreciate practical applications of these intangibles. Now, Ron mentioned reading scenarios earlier when we were discussing the notes for tonight's conversation. So I've included a couple pictures that are readable scenarios in the slide presentation. Now, the first one has to do with a young lady and a young man at a bar.
Hmm.
And really, this is where a lot of lessons in terms of the sessions, the consultation sessions that we have start. When we look at this particular scenario, what's the first thing that we can notice? I know when we talk about Ram, he focuses on body game, right? What's the body language saying?
Well, look, this one's obvious. Well, at least to me it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's interested. Look at
Mm-hmm.
how she's smiling. She putting that hair back. Like if a woman, like you're around a woman, she kind of put that hair back. That's kind of saying, "Hey, I'm interested." That's like a signal. Look at her. She's smiling. Look at her smile. Look at her eyes. She looking just at him. Shoot. Even look at her legs. I mean, her legs are kind of touching his. I mean, come on now. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is like a slam dunk. If he ain't getting none past this picture, like say this in the real world, he blew it. He blew it. That she blew it. She choosing right there.
Right.
She is choosing. I mean, but see, unfortunately, you do get some guys. They like, well, she did this, this, and this. What's up? Okay, you must be young.
Well, these are facts. And when we apply the lessons of someone's presence, their energy, their vibe, right? All of those seem to be indicating positively in this particular scenario. We look at him. He's not being overly joking, right? He's not
Hmm.
being a clown. He's not
Hmm.
acting out. He's just focused on her. His energy is
Oh,
very thoughtful,
that's
very
another part too. Yes.
yes, very together. You see, this is the other side of the lesson. This is the other side of the lesson.
Yes.
See, we give you all the elements, we give you all the points. Now let's apply that. You see? Even though she is opening up, she's beaming. She's, her legs are pointing towards him. Her chest is pointing towards him. Her torso is pointing towards him. He's receiving that, but he's not falling apart as a result. You see, he's been there before.
And that's an important piece. He's keeping calm. He's not like all over her or something, trying to make something happen. He's dealing with her as a player would deal with her, as a man with that energy. See, a nice guy be like trying to run all over, be all nervous, be trying to buy her, get her some drink or something, and she probably be like, "Oh man, whatever," because she didn't choose him. But she's chosen him in this, and he's being calm. See, here's the thing with a woman. If a woman wants you, she coming right to you. You don't have to work hard. Even in situations where you think you cold approaching a woman, that woman done seen you like weeks at a time. She done planned it out. Like that's one thing. Is true cold approaches are very rare. They very rare. Like a woman, you think you done cold approach that woman done clocked you. She done clocked you. She know you gonna be there. Even when you approach a woman on the street, you might see her right there. She saw you 5 blocks down the street and just decided what she gonna do. Which page is that in your book when you talk about the 5 F's? Ain't that page what page is that?
It's either 75 or in
Man,
that
you break it down for you. These women know. Like, trust me, these women know exactly what they want. But see, in order for you to really get that woman, you still have to have that right energy. You got to have that right energy, right?
Right.
You gotta have it in, and it is deeper than what you wearing, that expensive watch and all of that, because it really comes from within. Like you could wear a t-shirt and jeans, but she feeling that energy, she gonna be there for you. She ain't worried about all of that. See, a lot of guys, they think it's that outer thing. It's not the outer thing. Sometimes it ain't even like your genetics, your looks or something. Because you often talk about the USP, the ugly sexy player. That's because he might not have the genetics, but he has that energy that women like.
Yes. Yes, these are facts. And we can repeat this until what the old folks say, the cows come home, but the energy is everything. Because especially with the example of the ugly sexy player, his energy overcompensates for his unfortunate looks, right?
Yeah.
Of course, he keeps his body in shape, and he keeps his body in a way that he is able to express his prowess. Because if that's his ultimate goal, to be able to have an intimate exchange, he has to be up for the task. But when we're talking about what you're actually presenting and projecting to the woman, is the energy of a player, is that Mac energy, and is definitely the energy of an OG when she knows that she has discovered someone who is capable of bringing her satisfaction. Now, this last picture here, slightly different positioning. You see her legs are pointed out to the side. It's not pointing directly at him.
No.
He's leaning in more.
Yeah.
Towards her. You can tell that she is yapping about something, probably completely boring and uninteresting, but he is intense. He is like biting on every single word, hanging on every syllable that comes from her. She's making some type of point. Maybe they're co-workers. Maybe they're meeting at a conference. This conversation is all about her. I can say that from just looking at this particular picture.
I agree. She's entertaining him. she's entertaining him, but see, he probably thinking, yeah, I can get with her. But like you said, look where her legs are. Look how she's just talking. Like she's not pointed towards him. Her breastises are kind of pointed away from her legs are pointed away from him. Like, yeah, she's smiling and stuff. He might think he getting something, but not really. Not really. She'll probably be like, well, you have a nice night now. You know?
That's it. Text me when you get home. Make sure you get home safe. Yeah, absolutely. That's gonna be the
Yeah.
follow-up statement once this is done. She's gonna bring
Yes.
that doggy bag home, and you know who she's bringing it home for. Let's just be
Oh
clear.
yeah. But look at him. Look how he's smiling. He all into her and all of that. You know,
Yes, he's
it's
trying
not
to find the
he.
right words.
Yeah, nah. This ain't a good. Like, learn from this picture. Anybody watching this now, anybody who's going to watch the replay, look at her body language. Like, it's very important. Like, always pay attention to a woman's body language when she is discussing stuff with you. She'll tell you whatever. You can figure out whatever, you
But
know?
Rom, she's smiling though, right?
Well, man, please, women. I'm gonna tell you. Let me give y'all a secret right here, and I've talked about this before in a car video. Women smile just so you don't like take their like head off or something like that. It's more a defensive thing. It don't mean anything. And plus, as you said earlier, she's just talking, entertaining herself. They could be talking about whatever. She's smiling, and she might not be smiling about anything about him. She's just sharing something, but he's not going to take her home probably, you know? And if they're
Mhm.
on a date or something, well, she'll get that doggy bag and take it to somebody who live in the HO double D. Just go with the spelling up in the hood with an air mattress or something. Talking about that's her cousin, you know?
Indeed. Indeed. Because and
Also, look at how her arms are. She's kind of like blocking that energy from coming from him.
right.
Yeah, look at that. Think about it. If you look at the previous picture, she was open. She was open to his energy totally. She's blocking him. Her breast and her legs are away from him. And then they look at her. She's totally open, right?
Her
But
hands are
this
open, her arms are open, almost
yeah,
receiving him.
yeah, I mean, shoot. He can get down on that floor and make love to her shadow. That's how deep that is, right?
Mhm.
But the second one, she ain't tripping with she entertaining him for a night, but he ain't getting no parts of the booty. He ain't getting
Indeed.
no parts of it. He ain't getting no
Mhm.
parts. This is just something to entertain her right at that moment. Like that guy living in the HO double D with the air mattress probably gonna tear her up that night. She might
Indeed.
even say, "Yeah, I was hanging out with this guy at the bar, but it wasn't nothing." He's like a coworker or something. Cause look how he even leaning in and stuff. I was like, "Come on." Now
Right.
in that first picture, the guy he was just kind of sitting straight up or something, right?
Neutral. Neutral
Yeah, look,
posture.
Leah, look at him.
She's leaning towards him.
Yes, yes, but in that second picture, dude leaning to her, he's smiling, he looking at her, and he probably think he gonna do something. And she smiled. Look at just look at her body language and stuff. Really study this, right? You know,
No, indeed.
really study this. Anybody watching this, study her body language because and cousin Tito, you had said this, you had pointed this out. Look at where her vajayjay and her breastises are always pointing. You can tell a lot. You can tell a lot how they hug you or something. If they just your friend and how they hug you. They give
These are
you a
facts.
side hug or they give you a full body hug. That tells you a whole lot.
These are facts. For those who are looking for the reference on body talk, that comes on page 59, starting on page 59 of the book, The Seduction Scriptures. Of course, you have your copy. If you don't have your copy, the links to this are down below in the description. Now, having spoken on so many intangibles, more intangibles than I guarantee anybody else is going to bring up in a conversation in any space, we have covered the side of the game that has to do with inner development. You see, how these intangibles are identified, addressed, nurtured, and developed within each individual. That is up to you and your mentor. That is up to you and your coach. That is up to you and your teacher. You see, we are available as coaches and mentors and teachers of this thing we call foundational game. Our information is always below in the description. Reach out, especially if you have questions concerning how to integrate and apply this knowledge that we present. Because let's be clear, what we present publicly is just a fraction of what you will receive in your own private, specific coaching session, because there it can be tailored. It will be tailored to your specific personality, your specific scenario, life, and situation, and the way that you're moving towards your mission. Rom, any thoughts before we get out of here?
Just learn everything that we're teaching you. Like, I would say this to anybody who's watching this live stream, anybody who's watching the replay of it. And I always say this: don't just listen and think, oh, that's some deep stuff. Go out and apply this. Seriously, go out and apply this. Look, I want more people out here doing stuff. I want more people. Look, we don't want it to be a small group of men who got this knowledge. We want a critical mass. It needs this. I mean, you have so many people suffering in relationships now, and in a few minutes, we just gave you some powerful knowledge on just how to read somebody. Just a few minutes. Apply this. Think about it.
Yes, indeed. And for those, again, who are looking for information regarding coaching and teaching and mentorship, definitely bless the Cash App that's scrolling at the bottom of your screen, as well as subbing to the Patreon, because that's where you get the in-depth lessons and the information that you can apply in everyday life, as well as the information for yours truly that is supplied in the description. And so on behalf of the OG player himself,
I'll be a player for life. So where's my wife?
Ron Wills, and your baby mama's favorite cousin,
He is I and I am him.
we say, as always, this is your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying, stay sharp and mission focused. Later.
Peace, y'all.